What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is your daily meditation for Thursday, August 27th, 2020. For all those friends of First Presbyterian Church of Murfreesboro. Man, I was all set up to record this about 2 hours ago. But then ended up, so all of our kids, well, Scout homeschools, the other 3 kids are doing distance learning with the county schools right now. So they're all inside, and it's crazy, chaos. And it's been a full-time job, no doubt, for Lexi since this started. And for me, too, added time from time to time. Jovi, our second grader, has had this looming reading comprehension assessment. Reading is something that Jovi is still learning to do well, and it's not easy. And this was a long reading, and we couldn't help her at all. She had to do it all on her own, and then read and answer 12 multiple choice questions at the end. It's a benchmark, and for the last hour and 45 minutes, I've been with Jovi, encouraging her, not helping her, but pointing at words, helping her to read. It's exhausting to do. My hat's off to all teachers everywhere. And because that's hard work. So hard to be patient and persistent at the same time. And then also, for those of you out there who have kindergartners or first graders or second graders or whatever, who read no problem, congratulations, because that's pretty great. But I'm sure all of our kids have things they struggle with, and some, excel at, and are things that challenge them. They're all different, and it's all good. I'm very proud of Jovi for getting through that, because that was hard work for that kid, and she did it. Okay. I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 40, verses 1 through 4. Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. Tell her that her sad days are gone, and that her sins are pardoned. Yes, the Lord has punished her for all of her sins. Listen, I hear the voice of someone shouting, "Make a highway for the Lord through the wilderness. Make a straight, smooth road through the desert for our God. Fill the valleys and level the hills. Straighten out the curves and smooth off the rough spots." Here's my sort of rewrite of those verses. Comfort my people. This is God speaking. Comfort my people. Speak tenderly to them. Tell them their sad days are in the past. They've had their consequence. It's over now. Open a highway. Clear a lane for the Lord through the wilderness. These are familiar verses for some of us. This marks a major turning point in the book of Isaiah in the types of things that have been coming from him, where it's been mostly judgment and this sort of looming judgment. And now there's these words of comfort. God's people had been in exile, and really it wasn't over yet. I think I'd have to check my sources here or refresh my memory, but they still had 100 or 200 years left of exile, before it was all over. And so God is saying to Isaiah, comfort my people, comfort them, because it's not over yet, but good things are coming. A restoration is on its way. But in the meantime, comfort my people. I remember reading this line, "The seeds of comfort take root in the soil of adversity." And so it's not about avoiding our pain or avoiding the struggle or avoiding adversity, but about finding and resting in God's comfort in the midst of all of that, in the midst of all that struggle. The other piece here, I think, so finding God's comfort in the midst of our struggle. in the midst of our adversity, in the midst of our wilderness moments, which we'll come back to that. The other piece here is clearing the path, I think. When Isaiah says, make straight, smooth road for the desert, through the desert for our God, fill the valleys, level the hills, straighten out the curves, smooth out the rough spots. Removing the obstacles. This is about removing the obstacles of the wilderness. Remember, the wilderness and the desert in Scripture is a metaphor for our struggles, our moments of adversity, of pain, moments where we feel like we are distant from God, only to discover that in fact God is in those places, drawing us deeper into God's self. So this reminder that even in these wilderness places where we can so easily forget that God is present and God is inviting us deeper in, even in these places we can be actively together preparing for God's presence, for God's power, for God's love. Whatever we are experiencing, whatever is surrounding us, whatever make up the contours and the obstacles of our wilderness places, those do not need to be a hindrance to our experience of the divine wherever we are. Those don't need to be a hindrance to our experience of God's light and God's love and God's presence and God's power. I think this stuff is good news and good reminder. One more time. Comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. Tell her that her sad days are gone and that her sins are pardoned. Yes, the Lord has punished her in full for all her sins. Listen, I hear the voice of someone shouting, make a highway for the Lord through the wilderness. Make a straight, smooth road through the desert for our God. Fill the valleys and level the hills. Straighten out the curves and smooth off the rough spots. Friends, I hope this is an encouragement for you today. Wish we could talk about it together. And I think that day will be coming soon. But in the meantime, grace and peace be with you. We'll see you next time.